Hi, my name is Shannon, and we're just going to do a basic warm-up today on flute. So normally I just blow some air in first to get some warm air through the instrument. So I'll just roll in. And maybe play just a couple notes before to get my fingers going a little bit, which they will in the exercise as well. But I just want to, get my embouchure set and everything. Though the exercise can do that too, but after so many years, you have certain habits. So, this is just going to be a basic moise exercise, and then I can show you an alteration to that, and then the next exercise that I normally do in my warm-up as well. So we're going to start on B above the staff, so you're welcome to play along. And we're just going to go down in half steps. And you can do this at various different rhythms. You can start with whole notes and just do 2 notes. So, and metronome is at 60. My handy dandy real metronome. This thing has been dropped a million times and still keeps on ticking, so definitely hardier than a phone. Not really anything can go wrong with these things except the batteries will eventually die after a very long time, and that's even practicing for hours every day, so it doesn't suck that much juice out of the batteries. So if I'm having somebody start this exercise for the first time, I may have them start an octave lower, but we're going to start on the B, and then I would have longer notes. So one of the reasons for this exercise is to build breath capacity, control of that breath capacity, and tone quality. And then as well, as you advance, there's multiple things that can be added to it. So it's a great exercise, but you do need to be present in the moment and make sure you're listening. Otherwise, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. Also, this metronome that I have also has a tuner on it, and you can use them simultaneously, and there really isn't anything else out there. It's a Korg, Korg TM 60 is the present one. This one happens to be a 40, which they don't make anymore. So as you advance more, then you can have the metronome and the tuner on, and you can look at each note that you're playing to make sure the pitch is good. Normally you would repeat, so and eventually you can also add dynamics, so many other things to it, vibrato. But here's the most basic form. And normally I have my students take 1 to 2 beats to breathe, so you can have a good full breath. So you want to breathe from the bottom up, which you can't quite see here. So down in my diaphragm is what you're going to feel first, and then your chest, and then your next breath is going to actually expand your rib cage, and then a few more slurps to make sure you're completely full and start. So that helps you learn how to get a full breath. Now, when you apply it to a piece, you may not have that much time to breathe, but at least you know what a full breath is, and you'll be able to get a bigger breath. So now what I myself normally do is quarter notes for this exercise. So you would start on B chromatically all the way down to C or B if you have a B foot. And then you would restart on that same B above the staff and go all the way up to C, D, E flat, depending upon what notes you know. So then you will have, the first thing you do every day, you'll have warmed up the instrument and for its full range, which is very important, especially for the exercises that would come after. You want to be able to use the full range of your instrument all of the time because there is music out there, a lot of music out there that calls for that. So to play something well and you haven't warmed up that range of your instrument, it's not going to go as well as it should, or it may just not go at all. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to do a few notes and a breath, but I'll keep that amount of notes, those beats consistent. Also make sure while you're doing this that you're keeping your fingers really close to the key. This is another good exercise to keep those fingers really close. They can actually touch the keys as long as they're not depressing them when they're not supposed to depress them. But no flying fingers. It takes longer to get to the keys, slows down your technique. And that was my low B. So now we're going to go up. I actually chose to do half notes as opposed to quarter notes. You want to make it slow, make sure everything warms up really well, feels really comfortable, get a good tone. Now, each of these between the breaths, so I did 4 notes and then a breath. So technically, whatever you do, you would repeat that. And then you can improve upon the tone color, the pitch. And so that's why the repeat. I normally don't do the repeats. I haven't for a while, but I certainly did for all of my education and several years after while I was still also auditioning. So here we go. We're going to go up. We're going to restart on that B. Okay, so I went up to extended E flat, and I did not have enough breath to get to them, but I still did go ahead and go on. So I just didn't take enough of a breath on that last one. And the D and the E flat. Obviously, you know, the higher you go, the more air pressure, the faster air that you're going to have to put out. So it does take more air. Okay, so that being said, so you can do the repeats or not. You can do whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, depending upon your level. And Also depending on what other warm-ups you're planning to do. So the next one, the first alteration on this one I normally do quarter notes. It's quite similar, and we'll start on the same B, but we're going to go a whole step down, half step up. So it's just one variation on this exercise to get a little bit more of an interval in there. So on down the rest of the way. And then going up is just a mirror image of that. And so on for that. Now the next one I do is going to work on very large intervals. We're going to start small and then get larger. So I'll start on that B above the staff, and then I'll go down to a B, B flat, come up to a B, down to an A, back to a B, then A flat, B, G, B, and then eventually I get all the way down to the low B, so then I'll have actually a 2-octave span there. And all are slurred back and forth. So you really want to get as smooth of a slur as possible, and especially as you build the larger intervals. This can take a long time to be able to accomplish. And also you can tell I'm using vibrato on all of these, but I do alternate days for straight tone and vibrato. So I would advise that as well, because sometimes you do have to play with a straight tone, especially if you're playing with a clarinetist. They don't do vibrato, so, and all other instruments do, but so you need to be able to blend better, so at least little to no vibrato. So definitely practice the straight tone. That's also when you're also really focusing on pitch with the tuner. You definitely want to use a straight tone, because vibrato, if you don't know, wavers a little bit. So here's your straight tone, and then vibrato is going to waver a little bit above and below that line. So it actually manipulates the pitch slightly, and then it softens the sound. And that's one of the reasons for using it. Well, not just for pitch, but it softens the sounds, and it helps blend with other instruments better because of that. Because no group of people no matter how good they are gonna flawlessly be in tune. Okay, so here's up, and I'm gonna start on the B on the staff, so an octave lower than we get started, so we can still have that 2-octave span and actually more. as far as I go on that is to the D. I do occasionally go to the extended E flat and E as well, depending upon the time that I have for the day. So that's my basic warm-up, and after I go through that, then I go into the next stage of my warm-up. I would do chromatics, but I do several different ones. I start on my low B, and I start really slowly at that metronome at 60, and then so I do 2 notes per beat, and then I'll go to C and do 3 notes per beat, C sharp, 4 notes per beat, up from there, and just do that. I'll be starting with 3 octaves for each, the B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, and then I'm normally done with that. So I'm getting the 3 octave ones out of the way. So I can start them a little bit. Up to the B, and then C, up to my high C, and then C sharp is 4s. And D would be 5s. E flat 6s. And all the way up 3 octaves for all of those. And there is a lot more music these days that are going higher and higher, so it's really important to use your full range. Then after that, I would go to different scale exercises. I would go through all of my major scales, minor scales, whole tone scales, pentatonic scales, and I can just do those in those straight scales, or turn them into scale exercises, which I normally use the Toffanel Gobert daily warm-up book for that, and I alternate days with that as well. So I can do everything straight, or do the longer Toffanel Gobert. I have a few things that I alternate days with, and I have a chart of what I'm doing each day. So sometimes I stray and skip a day. So that's my warm-up. So, stay tuned for any next videos, and we can go into some more of the more detailed warm-ups. I have a short 15-minute warm-up, and 30-minute warm-up, and I can even go with several things up to an hour warm-up, and then I would take a break in between and take a break, get a snack after, and come back and then start working on etudes and solo repertoire, any orchestral or chamber music that repertoire that for any gigs I have coming up or anything like that. So hopefully this helped, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, and have a great have a great day, and have a great week. I kind of put that together. Dweek. Okay. Okay, thanks for watching.